There we go, recording in progress. Okay, so has everyone had a chance to fill out the poll? I'm just going to end this right now. So what we're going to discuss today are the basics of marketing. And I'm not going to be able to answer your questions because I am flying solo today, but I can answer any questions that you have after the presentation. So welcome, my name is Nicola. I work for, again, the marketing coordinator for Alberta Open Farm Days. And we're going to go through some basics. Are we ready? So what we're going to talk about first is how Open Farm Days uses marketing. And the reason I wanted to go into this is, yes, this is an Open Farm Days marketing course, but just to give you an idea that marketing isn't just social media. A lot of people kind of get really tied up in the social media, but it's so much more than social media. So how we use marketing to market the event, and not just marketing the event, but also like some of the community relations pieces that we do. So we'll just go over that. So we do paid advertising. So I think last year we spent $60,000 just on paid advertising. So that was through TV, radio ads. We had a partnership with Chorus that allowed us to have a little bit extra than what we would normally pay for. And so we had a partnership with them. And so the paid advertising, we also do newspaper ads, and that includes community ads. In fact, that's mostly community ads. So if you're in a smaller region, we really try and hit up some of the community newspapers. And the reason for that is, while we want people from the city to come out into the community, this is also a community building event. And so we want people in your local area to know about your Open Farm Days event. What we found is that people will drive up to an hour and a half to go visit a farm. So if that's the case, if they're driving an hour and a half, we're really hitting a lot of like local communities. What we're hoping to do as Open Farm Days gets bigger and more expansive is having these local stays. So people are coming from, say, Lethbridge, and they're having an overnight stay and then spending more time in the community as well, and maybe going to 2 days of Open Farm Days and expanding those visits. And then, of course, the social media ads. I think we spent $15,000 in social media ads last year, and that includes YouTube, the obvious Facebook, Instagram. We do not do Twitter because Twitter is a very specific platform unto itself. The next part that we do is the creating content. So creating content is the backbone really of online marketing. And oftentimes marketing as a whole has really shifted to this creating content. In the past, we have hired writers to go out to farms and interview them and have blog articles that we can use. Those blog articles are still all on our website. And then also earned media stories. What that means is that we've sent out a news release saying that Open Farm Days is happening. We hire a PR firm, a small PR firm here in Edmonton, and actually they have farming background as well, so that works out fantastic. And what they do is they pitch local farm stories, and they pitch, which we can talk about in the advanced marketing course that we're going to be talking about later. But what this means is that, sorry, I got someone in the waiting room here. What that means is that we're allowing you to have more exposure to the market, and that and then it also gives you a story that you can use for social media, and then gives you more exposure to the media. And also having that connection to the media is really important, because if you're doing a story with a local reporter and that interview went really well, they're more likely to come back to you in the future for farming questions. So if, let's say we're talking about supply chain, they're like, oh, well, we know this farm, they were really great, we'll come back. So it's building those relationships so that we help try and prep you for those relationship building too. So the partnerships, which are working with local organizations to build communities around Open Farm Day. So that could be working with municipalities, that could be working with community futures. So all those different things to help promote Open Farm Days. And then the last part is the marketing assets. So we have a website, we have a logo, we have printed materials, and we have digital materials that we can provide you guys with as well to help you. So it's so much more than social media. And that's kind of what I want to hit home today is how you can use marketing more than social media to get the word out. So ahead into the next screen here. Okay, so the first thing that's important for you to do before you even start doing anything in terms of marketing is finding your unique voice. So what does that mean? That means you need to find out what it is that makes your farm special, is what makes your farm unique. I can't help you with that. That's really something that you need to figure out yourself. So how do you do that? So first of all, what makes you unique? Are you a bison farm? That's fairly unique. Who are your customers? Are your customers local? Do your customers come from the city? Do they drive 3 hours to come find you because your product is so amazing? Who are they? And why are they coming to see you? Listen to what your customers tell you. Oftentimes try to figure out what makes you special and what makes you unique. The customers are always telling you. So listen to them when you're talking to them, find out, pay attention to what they're saying in, your Facebook comments, for example. Ask people to write reviews, whether that's a Google review, whether that's a Facebook review, and see what they say. That will give you an indication of what makes your business and your farm unique. Some people don't like this, but this is really important, which is analyzing your competitors. So this could be a competitor within your community. This could be a competitor, say, in the United States. This could be a competitor in another province, but go and have a look. Do a quick Google search of a farm, CSA, British Columbia, CSA, Texas, and find out, what other people are doing and find out what they're doing well and find out what you don't like. And that will kind of give you an idea, go, yeah, they do this well, but we do it better. And that will give you an idea of what makes you unique. And lastly, know your weaknesses. Part of marketing is you don't want to be telling everyone that you can do everything. That's not accurate. We know that you can't. You're farmers, you're busy doing stuff. So know where your line is, setting your boundaries is really important. So when you're marketing, you're not saying, we're the best strawberries in Alberta, right? I mean, the strawberries are not your unique selling point, and we don't want to say that. So knowing your weaknesses and know where your boundaries are is also very important to finding your unique voice. And then, so just to kind of recap on that, so identifying your audience and your unique voice will help you create content, your sales funnel, and your community. So this part is really important, and this will get us through the rest of this presentation, because identifying your audience and your unique voice and creating your content will also eventually, marketing doesn't happen, it's not immediate, will increase your sales funnel. So your sales funnel is, let's say 10 people see a post, maybe only 2 people buy it, but you still got those 10 people that are looking at your product. And what we want to do is build trust and build community so that they will eventually buy something from you. So that's the sales funnel, and that's how marketing can help you with that. And okay, so building community with content. So I spoke previously about how content is really important and really is the backbone of marketing. So it's also, without content, you can't really do online marketing. You can't. So whether that's a video, whether that's a photo, whether that's a blog post, whatever it is, that's considered content. Content will help you tell your audience who you are and what it is you sell. That can be direct, or that could be indirect through photos, or it could be direct as in your video doing exactly what this is a video, this is my farm, and you can tell them, or you can kind of imply through photos. So once you know who your audience is and what makes you unique, you need to identify how you can help your customers or your community. By identifying your value, you can identify your marketing tactics. So again, identifying what it is that you can help your customer with. Is your customer, let's just use the strawberries example, is your customer looking for strawberries? Are they looking strawberries in 10-pound packs? How can you help them? What are you going to tell them about what makes your strawberries the best strawberries ever? And another tactic of providing value is, how do you use strawberries? Are we using the strawberries for baking? Are we using strawberries for fondue? What is it that you're doing that can help your customer? So identify what value you're bringing to your customers. What do you want them to know? And that could be, do you want them to know how you grow your strawberries? What makes your strawberries so special? And what do you want your community to do? So I'll just use an example of one business that and this is not a farm, but their business is, really built around baking for yourself and going out and buying local. What they do is they provide in their content, they provide resources for them and then tell them, here's the resources to go buy local, go buy it and let us know. And that's what you want them to do. You want to provide the information and then make them feel like you've taught them everything that you know, and they can go forth and buy the best product. And hopefully that best product is directly from yourself. Okay, so identify your strategies and tactics. So this is in terms of building your content. Do you want to educate? Do you want to sell? And where do you want to talk to them? Do you want to talk to them online or in person? And what will you need to be able to communicate with them? Identifying these strategies and tactics will really help you, because it will really identify how it is that you are communicating with your community. And some farms or some businesses don't want to sell. Selling is just a secondary part of their business. Their passion is education. And naturally that education, people become to trust them and then they will purchase from them, but they don't want to. Maybe there's no product to sell at all. Maybe the product is just the education and your knowledge. You can have both. You can have educate and sell, but trying to figure out what strategy it is that you want to use to create your content will help you later on when you're building content for your content calendar, when you're building content, if a reporter comes to see you, these are the parts. So it's almost like you're becoming, and you probably already are, an expert at what it is that you do. So I know that's a lot and I talk fast, so we'll just go through and there will be time at the end to ask questions. But just to recap is that what you want to do to build your content is know who you are, who your audience is, and what it is that you want to tell them and how you want to bring value into their life. All right, so this is where we get into the nitty-gritty. So we've now figured out who we are and what we want to do. How are we doing this? What tactic do we need? And this is where I kind of get on my soapbox. You need a website. 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 Facebook and Instagram are great. It's not a website. If you remember a little while ago, Facebook and Instagram went down. And then you couldn't use them. If you had something that was really important that you needed to post, you can't rely on a platform that you don't own to tell people what's going on. You need to own your own assets, and you need a website. The benefits include, for a website, include being able to set up payments, so you could have an online store, or if you're using agritourism as part of your business, you could even have people paying up front for hay rides, those kinds of things. You can create blogs, which is great for ranking on Google. You can rank on Google, and websites allow you to control your narrative as well. For social media, and don't get me wrong, like my business is built on social media, but you don't always get to control your narrative on social media. You can put the content out, but then there's always those comments, the commenters are like on social media, they can be kind of horrible. So on your website, you get to control that, and you don't have to answer to random commenters on Facebook who might take you sideways. Now, don't get me wrong, those are really important for building community and education, but the websites are solid. They're your rock. That's where you need to start first. I have some resources at the end of this presentation. If you don't have a website and not quite sure where to start, there are free or free-ish website builders that you can use to get that started. But always have a website. Google listing. So we come across this a lot through Open Farm Days, is that people say, well, Google doesn't know where I am, and Google can't find me. Google doesn't know who you are. They don't know who your business is. And frankly, they're not going to try and find you. You have to tell Google where you are. I can add a link here in the follow-up email with how to let Google know how to find your business. But especially if you're doing events or if you have an on-farm store, you need to have a Google listing, and it needs to be accurate. If you've got people coming from the city that are not used to the range roads and the township roads, and telling them to turn left at the blue stick and then turn right and then do a U-turn, they're not going to find you. They're going to need a Google listing. So having a Google listing is imperative. I'll just kind of give you a little bit of a hint. All you need is the latitude and longitude of where you are. It's actually quite simple to figure out. It might take half an hour. Once you get that, then you're set up for having a Google listing. Google listing is also really important for internet searches. So if you're selling a product, let's use strawberries again, you're more likely to rank in Google listings if Google knows who you are and where you are. If you don't have that, it's harder for Google to find you. Logo and branding. So again, this really is step one of what you need for your farm if you're going to be consumer facing. Your logo is your business identity. It helps people identify really quickly who you are. If people are scrolling online, sure, they might see your, let's say we're on Facebook, and they'll see your family and go, oh yeah, that's the family. Oh, they're so amazing. But if you've got a logo, people are visual, they're more likely to see the logo than they are to identify your page with the family photo. So having a logo is so important. You might not have plans to be as big as Coca-Cola or Google even, but you still need to have a logo. Logos are, again, it's another cost, but it really does help identify your business to your customer. You can use the logo on all your materials, on your website, your social media presence, all your products. If you're selling products on your farm, having a logo and then having that again is just identifying to your customer who you are. If you get a logo through a graphic designer, graphic designers will put together a kit and tell you what fonts to use and what colors to use, and then kind of bring all those pieces together. If you're not ready for all of that, a logo, just need a logo and maybe some colors as well. So black and white, for example, is my logo branding. It keeps things nice and simple. And lastly, photos. So for Open Farm Days, we come across this a lot because for Open Farm Days pre-pandemic, we were having up to 40,000 people traveling around the province visiting farms. So let's put yourself into the consumer's position. They're going through your farm listing and they've never been to a farm before. They're not quite sure what to expect, and it can be a little bit intimidating. How are we going to identify to them what our farm is about? When people are so visual, we need photos. So that could be a photo of a product. That could be a photo of, we have these beautiful landscapes in Alberta. That could be, you come to our farm and look how beautiful it is. It could be photos of yourself. It could be photos of all kinds of stuff. So that's really important to have. So photos. Now, who takes the photos? Because again, like I know you're thinking this is additional expense. So website is, there's lots of free places that you can go. Google even has a free website builder. Google listing is free. So the website will cost you for the cost of the domain name. Domain names are usually, depending on what you want, between $1.99 a year to maybe up to $25 a year. If you want something that's like of high value, it might cost more, and then you might want to do that. Logo and branding. There are websites where you can go in and put a logo branding together yourself. What I would suggest to do is hire a graphic designer if you've got one in your community, or if you have a college in your town that has, like a graphic design or an arts program, reach out to them and see if any of the students need to build a portfolio, that's always a great way to get, either a free or a low cost logo. And photos. So you can hire a photographer. And again, you could reach out to friends to if they know a photographer, but photos are really are necessary. You can use your phone. But my phone photos are fantastic for social media. There's just a couple of things, and I'm just going to tell you, you got to clean your lens. If you don't clean your lens, your photos are going to look blurry and kind of yuck. It's especially if you're outside all day, just get your shirt and just kind of rub your phone on your shirt and clean that lens. If you think about where your phone has been all day, it's been on your ear, so now it's got, skin and oil and all kinds of stuff. So please clean your lens. That will help you. Another thing that comes out is when people go from inside and outside, and then the camera gets fogged up and it's condensation and it gets blurry. The clear photos are really important. Okay, everyone's favorite, social media. I should have done a little bit social media since this is my actual job, but here we go. So social media is an incredibly effective way to communicate with your audience. 90% of Canadians are on at least one social media platform. Funny side note though, Facebook just lost followers for the first time in their history, which is kind of interesting to me from a social media point of view. Where are those people and why are they leaving Facebook? But that's an aside. So social media, very effective way to communicate with your audience about who you are and what you do, but you need to consider a couple things before you jumping in. Number one, as most of you would know, social media is so time consuming. So when we go back to the few points that I said before about finding your unique selling point, finding your identity, finding who your customers are, that's really going to help with this time consuming piece. If you're out on your farm and you're doing something really fun, or might not be fun for you, but for someone that's not engaged in farming, and you take a picture of it and then you're like, ugh, no one's going to find this interesting. I promise you everyone will find it interesting. But it will help you having this identity of knowing what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to sell. If you want to sell, it will help you plan your content. And because I'm back to point one, because it is time consuming, you need to be strategic and you need to make a plan. So again, what is my unique selling point? What it is that I want to get across? And what is it that my customers are going to find value in? How am I helping them in their day, in their life? So we're not going to go too much into the platforms today. We're going to save that for the next one, which is the intermediate course, which is I believe it's in 2 weeks. So step one, before you decide to pick one, and you might already have one, but pick a platform, research the platform. And again, go and look where your competitors are, go and look where your audience is, know what kind of assets that you're going to need. Will there be anything specific that you need to learn? So for example, on Instagram, you're going to need hashtags. Do you know how to use hashtags? Do you know how to search hashtags? Are you willing to learn how to use hashtags? All those pieces are very important for picking a platform. You don't need to be on all the platform. You can be on Facebook and not on Instagram. You can be on Twitter and not on Instagram. You just need to pick one and know what it is that that platform needs and know what kind of assets you need. And we're going to go through assets here in another minute. Oh, right here. Ignore that Twitter at the top. Okay, so Facebook, the big one. What does Facebook support? So if you decide that you want to use Facebook as your platform, Facebook supports images. They support space for written content. So if you want to write, this is how we feed our cows, and have an explanation around that, Facebook is a great place for that because they can support that written content. You can have Facebook Lives, you can have videos, you can have events. Facebook is really good for supporting different types of content, depending on what your unique selling point is and what you're trying to get across. So if Facebook meets that criteria, then maybe you want to choose Facebook. Instagram, again, owned by Facebook, a little bit different. They support images or videos. They have space for written content, but they also have some more advanced features that you might want to consider. I don't know how many of you have heard of Reels, but they're up to 60 seconds now. They're trying to compete with TikTok. So they're up to 60 seconds where you can put videos or photos together. You can do some really cute behind the scenes videos, but understand that if you choose Instagram, you need to decide on the types of assets that you need. So are you willing and able to create videos, or do you want to have just images only? So these are the things that you need to be deciding on. Instagram also has a space for written content. So again, if you want to write recipes or more longer length posts, Instagram does have the ability to do that. Again, with Instagram, there are a couple things that you need to consider, whether that's location tagging. Do you need to set up location tagging for Instagram? Do you need to know hashtags? You can't have Instagram without hashtags. You won't be found. So you need to have hashtags. Let's go to YouTube. So YouTube is video based. It's actually owned by Google, which is really great. And YouTube is the second largest search engine. It's a little bit more difficult to learn, but really interesting, but it's video based. And so you're going to need to create videos. If videos are your jam, YouTube is the place for you, or you could have Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Anyway, so YouTube is really great. It's owned by Google, so you're very likely to be ranked if you're in like a certain niche. So YouTube would be really great. Twitter used to be my number one, and I still have a very special place in my heart for Twitter. So Twitter allows images and video. The problem with Twitter is that tweets don't last very long. And it has kind of, over the last 10 years that I've been doing social media, it is now mostly used for news. Twitter can also be cesspool as well. So you have to really curate who you're following on Twitter, so you don't get taken down these dark rabbit holes of bad places. But Twitter is great. Twitter is really great if you want to connect with local news media. They mostly use that for looking for stories, for looking for someone to talk to. It's a really, really great place for that, and a really great place for building a community. The hashtag ABAG is really well used on Twitter. So again, yes, hashtags are important for Twitter, but again, I have a soft spot in my heart for Twitter, but it has changed a lot over the last 10 years. So if you want to talk about more of that, I'm more than happy to talk to you about that. And the last one, this is where I spend 90% of my time, not creating content, but just consuming it, is TikTok. TikTok is short video based. There is little to no space for written content, because what the idea is that you're videoing your content, not writing your content. It's very easy to be found on TikTok versus Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube on what they have the For You page. So TikTok is really based on trends. So these could be either dancing trends, they can be using audios from other clips. TikTok is very, very fun. But again, it's that taking that time to create the videos. There's a meme going around for those of us in the social media world, which is creating content, and then a new trend comes and you've just spent an hour making a video, and now it's gone. No, you don't get to use that video. So, it's really good if you're on the fly, if you're really comfortable making videos. TikTok is fantastic. It's very fun and very easy to be found. And I just want to say, if you're using social media, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be super stressful. It's supposed to be kind of fun. And as you're building your community, and as you're building, getting more used to who it is that you want to talk to and what it is that you want to talk about, you'll start to get really a lot more comfortable, kind of getting more fun. And it's just like anything, it just takes practice. Now, I don't know if some people are just not going to like this or not, but my suggestion, as someone has been working in social media for the last 10 years, that works with public relations organizations, is to keep your social media light and friendly. That doesn't mean that you cannot have political or religious views. What we would suggest is sticking to your subject matter. So whatever you're the subject matter expert in, stick to that. So if you have big feelings about strawberries, and let's say there's a new tax on strawberries, then you absolutely should talk about that. But if you have big feelings about aliens and they have nothing to do with strawberries, I would not do that. Save that for your personal stuff, not your business stuff. All right. Again, creating content. So you know who your audience is, you know what your unique selling point is, you know who you are, you know all these pieces. How do you create your, and you've created your, and you've chosen your platform. So let's say we're going to do Instagram and we're only going to use photos. What are some of the ways that you can create content to build your community and tell people what it is that you do? So you can start with, and we'll just go through these really quickly, but there are 1,000 things that you could do to talk about and build your community. So you could do behind the scenes things. These always go really well. And the funny thing to me is, as a person that isn't involved, doesn't have a farm and is like 3 generations separated from a farm, behind the scenes of farms are fascinating. And I love it. I love it. And I think a lot of people really love it too. So behind the scenes are really great. Do an introduction to yourself. You are the person that is providing food and growing food and producing food for the province and the country. Say, hey, I am your farmer and this is what I produce. And then I produce this, and where does it go? What does the supply chain look like for your product? Let people know what it is you do and be transparent about it. National days are a great way. So Canada Ag Day this year is February 22nd. And so let's talk about Canada Ag Day. Let's talk about why agriculture is so important. I mean, obviously we know why it's so important, but let's talk about it. Let's amplify that. The cool thing about using something like a Canada Ag Day is that that hashtag that they're using is very easily found. And we can talk about this in the next session. But when people click on that hashtag, and if you've used that hashtag, people will find you, and it's another way to be part of a community. Launch a product, create a product, or have a product already and then launch it. Say, hey, this is new, this is really great. Share information about a community partner. Say, hey, my farm down the road, my little buddy down the road, they're doing something great. Share that. That's building community. That's saying, this in my community is going on. I love these people. We support our community. That's really great. As I mentioned before, show your expertise by demonstrating something. And again, there's so many different types of farms, but demonstrate a tractor. I don't think people realize how high tech, these tractors and these combines are. Talk about that. It's kind of cool. And search trends. So if you're, again, if you decide to do Instagram or TikTok, spend some time just scrolling through Instagram. This is your opportunity to sit on the couch and just scroll through your phone and have a look at what it is other people are doing. Talk about your region. We had this conversation in December with the Foothills. And what we kind of talked about was, are there things that grow in your region that grow better than another region? And again, as a non-farmer, I wouldn't be able to talk to this so much, but what is it about the soil in the Foothills, or the soil in Grand Prairie, or the temperature or the climate that makes things better, grow better, produce better in your region? Is this education part, if this is part of what you want to do for your content strategy? Share an event that you're involved in. Are you at a farmer's market? Are you doing a Christmas market? Are you having people come to your farm? Are you part of Open Farm Days? Share an event that you're involved with. And the last one, which can sometimes go well and sometimes can go hairy depending on how comfortable you are, doing a question and answer period. Those are all great content that you can do. And lastly, oh, look at this, I'm right on time. You've created all this content, and you've gone and had a look at what you've done, and you know who you are, and you know what you want to talk about. I would say probably one of the most important part of marketing is the follow-up, because you can be putting all this stuff out, but is it working? And are you wasting your time doing things that are not working? And the last thing you want to do is to waste your own time. So how do you follow up? And this isn't just social media. I know we always rattle on about social media, but did you create a poster, and did you print it? And what was the cost of that? Did the poster work well? Did you post on social media? Did that work well? Did it invite the trolls? Okay, how do we get rid of the trolls? How do we stop that situation? What can we do different from that? Review any comments or questions or praise that you received, whether that's people coming into your farm store, whether that's people coming into your event. Those reviews, those comments, the little things that people say are vital to your marketing experience and how that and how you can go forward. And how do you feel about the marketing? You might have gone through this whole thing and done question and answers and done introductions and done behind the scenes, but does it feel authentic to you? Does it reflect who you are? Does it reflect who your farm is? People can tell if it's fake, and you need to make sure that you're doing something that feels good to you. You need to feel that whatever it is that you're putting out into the world is reflective of your business. And so going back and looking at that, going, I didn't like doing the question and answer. We're not doing that again. That is the follow-up. That is the marketing follow-up, and very important. So if you have any questions, you can message me. So again, the ironic part, and I was trying to get it up for today, is that I have a new website coming, and it's not finished yet. But that's how that happens. But if you have any questions, you can email me at my work email, which is nicola@collectivemarketingagency.com, or you probably all know me from my info at albertaopenfarmdays.com email. I get both, and I can answer either place. And lastly, some resources. So I can put these on a one-pager and email them to you if you're interested. So for your website, domain names, and you can check out GoDaddy or domain.com. GoDaddy also has a website builder. I don't love it. It's kind of, domain.com has one as well. I've never used domain.com to build a website, so I'm not sure. I do love WordPress, but it is a little bit more intensive. Squarespace is good for light information, and Shopify is great if you're selling products. Shopify is actually really fantastic if you're selling product. You can use, don't be afraid to use an agency or something to build a website for you if you just don't want to take the time, because again, these things are so timely. I just finished using a website builder out of BC. She was fantastic. She had it done in 2 weeks. And the reason why it's not launched yet is because I'm waiting for my photographer. Again, I'm not following all my tips here, but photos. If you have a great camera in your pocket and use it to document your day. Even if you just take one day when you know you've got something good, just spend the day taking photos. Just take photos of everything. You might not use all of it, but now you've got a collection of photos. When taking photos of your farm, clean your lens, please, for the love of all that is good in the world, please clean your lens. Remember, what might be mundane for you is interesting to other people. Take the photo. You might not use it, that's okay. Professional photos are an amazing investment. I would actually really, really highly recommend getting professional photos done. You can throw some family photos in there as well. But you've got someone coming to your farm that maybe isn't familiar with your farm, so they might see things that are more interesting that you wouldn't necessarily see. Plus, these things you can use on your website, you can use them on your social media, you can use them on posters, you can use them on postcards, you can use them for your farmers market stalls. It is not inexpensive, but I think it's very much worth it. And it is better to use your own photos, but if that's not possible, there are stock photos that are free. Unsplash and Pexel's the ones that I use all the time. And then this is a really great one. So let's say you're participating in Open Farm Days and people have come to your farm and they've taken photos and you want to use that photo, 100%. That's called user-generated content, which you probably don't care about, but that's what it's called. And what I would do is don't screen cap it and then use it on your social media. Please ask them first. Even if it's just on someone's personal account, they still have copyright. That's their photo. So don't use photos from other people that have visited your farm without giving them credit and asking for permission. And graphic design, Canva. In fact, Canva even has a logo tool on there to create a logo. There's a free account option and a pro account option. They have templates. You can make posters, you make postcards, you can make social media content. They've got video content. They've got all kinds of stuff. If you have no graphic design experience, and why would you, use Canva. Canva's the best. And I think that's it. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to open up. So if you have any questions, I'm here. Just let me know. So we'll, anything? I know we went fast and there was like a lot of content. We will go over some more of the social media stuff in the next session. And you can unmute if you wanted to ask. I'll put it in the chat. Either works. No? We good? Everyone happy? Everyone confused? All right.
I have one.
Yes.
This blog thing. Are there people out there that you can hire to help you with your blogs or do your blogs for you if you give them a theme or?
Yes. 100%. Yes. So let me just talk about blogs for a moment, because blogs are actually really just disastrously underutilized. They're fantastic. What I would say for blogs is creating a blog. So you have two different types. You have evergreen, which you can use all year round. So that could be, so for Yugi, it could be, what is it like being a rancher? Right? Or what is it like living in the peace, not the peace country, you're on the other side. What is it like living up there? What is great about farming in that region? That's a fantastic blog. And that's something that you can use all year round. If you've got nothing to talk about in January, when January is like miserable and cold and horrible, pull that out. That would be fantastic. Then you have seasonal content. So we did a seasonal blog post in October about preserving pumpkins. So that's something that's providing value. So people going out to farms, purchasing a pumpkin, and now we've got this pumpkin, what are we doing? How are we using it? So we're providing value again by they've gone, they've purchased it, and then we're providing value in how to use it, whether it's cooking it, whether, you know, don't put it on concrete. All of these kinds of things are providing value. Again, I know that you're not agency, so how do we find people to write content, or how should you write your own blog? If you're writing your own blogs, there is absolutely nothing wrong with bullet points. Write a little intro, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. And even for your open farm days descriptions, for your event descriptions, people can kind of get a little bit stressed out about like, what am I going to do? Bullet points, just bullet point the crap out of everything. Sorry, can I say crap? Just bullet point everything. It's easy to read. Make a list, top 5 reasons why you should buy a local pumpkin. That's perfect. That works fantastic. It's easy to read, it's easy to digest, and you're providing value. I love blogs, and you can post them on your website. So if people are Googling how to preserve a pumpkin, you'll rank. I mean, you might not rank first page, but at least you'll rank, and Google will know you're there. Yeah, blogs are the best, and they're kind of old school marketing tech, like online techniques, but they're still very valuable. My business address is that I am in Edmonton, but Open Farm Days is operated by Alberta Ag Societies, which is also in Edmonton. And we use Tanis from Food Tourism Strategies, and she is in Calgary. Will we have notes referencing the information you spoke about? 100% sure. It's Canva. I'm going to put Canva in the chat here. Canva, I use Canva professionally all the time. Canva is literally the best thing ever, and it's free. There is a pro. I think I paid $10 a month to use it, but I use it all the time. You might not need the pro version because you might be using it once or twice a month, but the pro version gets you videos, it gets you access to stock photos, gets you a little bit more options. So use the free and then move up from there. You are welcome. Are there any other questions? No? Okay. If there are any questions, again, I'm around literally all the time. We're hoping to have registration open for Open Farm Days fingers crossed for the end of the month, as I mentioned, for those that might not have it, we're building a website for host farms, and we'll have these presentations and stuff on there too, just to have a more concise place for you guys to have access to ag tourism and resources. And then once that is up and running, then we'll have registration open for Open Farm Days this year, which is on August 13th and 14th. I cannot remember when the next session is. It's in like 2 weeks, I think. In the next session, we're going to be talking a little bit more about social media, because that is what everyone wants to talk about. So we'll talk a little bit about how to create a reel. We can talk a little bit about creating videos. There's lots of fun free apps that, oh, thank you, Sharon. It's the 15th. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. And then the advanced session, we're going to be taking this to next level. And we're going to be talking about some of the community relations and public relations. And I have some of my colleagues giving us some information about what to do when a reporter calls. I know reporters get such a bad rep, but they are the most lovely people, and they're just trying to do their job. And if they're coming to you, it's because they're trying to do a story and they want your expert opinion, and we want you prepared with your expert opinion. Building content is what will make you a subject matter expert. So finding your unique selling point, finding all these pieces, you want to be a subject matter expert in what it is that you do. And when you are a subject matter expert, you are more likely, if you want, you might not even want this, to have some newsworthy stories and be the point person for media. But yeah, I feel bad for the media right now. They're getting a hard time, but they're fantastic. Media's that's it. I won't go on about that. So any questions, honest to God, feel free to reach out anytime, and we'll see you on the 15th. Bye, guys.